A few different things. I guess we could say it started in, I would say week 1, around week 2. I helped the Morgan to get or make our model unit ready for Michelle Moore. I said, hey, the beds need to be made. They gave this to us. She wasn't here. I think it was, had to be my first week because Ray wasn't here. So I was like, hey, I would like your help with this. She's like, no, I'm busy. I said, okay. She continued to speak to Tim outside. And I said, well, you know, it's okay if you're busy. Let's postpone it until a little bit later on this afternoon. She's like, okay, well, I just don't know. I make my own bed. Why can't you? So that comment is what threw me off to begin with. After that, I was like, well, you know, I'm the assistant. Let's go through it together. That's perfectly fine. She's like, no, I only take directives from Ray. So that's where it began for me. As well, to add into that, Ray kind of told me, be careful how I assert my role as the assistant manager because things were already rocky. So those things to me kind of let me know that it wouldn't be easy to be the assistant manager.
Okay, and I'm gonna preface this with I've talked to a lot of people prior to sitting down and having this conversation with you, and I'm gonna say that people have heard different things, residents have heard different things, other employees have heard different things, and all of these stories match each other, right? So as we have this conversation, I want to preface that, if I feel that you're lying to me at any point, it's going to be a completely different conversation.
And that's perfectly fine. I have nothing to lie about.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you that at any point, did you say it's a woman's job to make a bed?
No, I did not.
Okay. And were you really just so gracious? Because I will say this, just in watching the dynamic, it seems as though and I can feel it as soon as I walk into the office, and it feels differently when you were out front versus you weren't out front.
Okay.
It's very, very clear to me you can't stand her, but it's not clear to me that she can't stand you. And I'm on the outside looking in. And this is the first time I've been here.
Yeah.
So I guess, for me, if you're the assistant manager, right, and you want to assert yourself and you want to be this person, you set the example and you set the tone, and the interactions you're having with her just don't seem appropriate to me as an assistant manager. You don't get to be both. You don't get to be a coworker that doesn't like her and treats her like crap. Because I've witnessed, residents have called me witnessing the way you treat her.
But can you give me an instance?
Not yet, because I have a lot of documentation about it.
Okay.
And I'm trying to have a conversation with you to see, where you find your role to be and how are we going to solve for this. Because if you're the assistant manager, you should be setting the tone. You should be treating her with respect. And if something's not happening, you should have escalated it to me at this point to say, hey, listen, I've asked her to do this and she's not doing it, but that's not what has happened. I mean, it looks like you just, Ray hasn't been here in weeks.
No, but I have documentation. I have text message of our conversations that I would love to show you if you're willing, but I've documented this stuff. I have not gone out of my way to say anything to her. I've not been egregious towards her. I've not been aggressive towards her. I keep my communication short and minimal. So that's why I asked for an instance of...
I'm going to ask you, did you say to her the other morning that it must be your time to come?
No, I did not. That is not the way I said it. I said, okay, it's that time. And that's when I got up because we had to split commissions. And from what I'm seeing, you guys have not taken my side. Okay, you're completely believing one person and negating what I'm saying because of what?
Because so many people have said that nobody's come to me and said that Morgan has done anything inappropriate. Nobody has come to me and with any of it. And I've got so much documentation of people treating her offensively.
Well, that's not true.
Okay, so you now have picked up and moved to the back. It's like romper room to me. Like, I can't even believe that at my level I'm sitting here having this conversation. You reached out last week, she reached out last week, Amber's reached out last week, residents have reached out. This has escalated into a whole another level, and the commonality is you from everybody that has come to me So where does that leave you? You know, what do you think I should do? What do you think needs to be done here?
Well, I haven't done anything, so your best judgment, you do what you see fit, but I have not done anything. I've not said anything out of the way to her, things have been misconstrued. My manager has called me sassy within her first 2 weeks being here because of my tone. Like, my tone is an issue, but me being cursed at by the underling, the leasing agent, is not an issue. I told you that she cursed at me, did I not? She followed me into your office when I tried to separate that situation. She was behind me, was she not? Did she not follow me directly into the office?
Yeah, you both walked into my office.
I got up first to come to you because I knew it was getting hot. Was she behind me screaming I'm sexist or not?
I mean, I know she told me the comment that you made.
But she was walking behind me, following me into your office, right or wrong?
Yeah, you walked into my office.
I came into the office first. I was like, okay, I see it this time. I got up and came into your office. That's when she followed me and screamed I'm sexist. I have not done anything, so I wanted to separate myself from that circumstance, and I moved back into the back office. That is exactly how it happened. I said, okay, it's this time. I walked into her office, and she's following behind me screaming I'm sexist. I have not done anything. Honest to God. I've been keeping a track of this. I've been speaking to Ray about these scenarios. Ray has warned me
I've
about
talked to
this.
Ray too. I mean, this isn't, I'm not coming to you with, like, not having spoken to everybody.
I believe you.
You know,
But I am not the aggressor in this situation. I am not the one who's saying side comments. I'm not the one, oh, well, you're just sitting there on your fucking phone. How am I being talked to like this, but I'm the aggressor?
well, I'll tell you, a lot of people have. I mean, I've had residents tell me every time that I go in the office, Oliver's on his phone, he doesn't even look up at me.
That's so far from the truth.
I mean, just the other day, like, I can't speak to what residents have encountered, because I haven't seen you, personally, I haven't seen you ignore a resident, maybe you on your phone. But, you know, I was trying to come and talk to you about where you're at with some stuff, and, you know, I think there's been multiple times I've seen you on a FaceTime call. So, just personally, that's just my own observation. I think anytime I walk into the back room, because now I don't really have eyes on you, and anything that I have so far asked of you, I'm finding when I follow up, you haven't gotten along in the process. I mean, I know once Beth started helping you with Deposit County, that happened, but anything up until that point, and then I just haven't seen like progress on anything that has been asked.
Right.
And then I go back there and I do see you on your phone, and maybe you're not, maybe it's not a personal thing, but I'm still seeing, I'm like, it's hard for me when I'm asking, hey, has this been done, like, where are we on this? And there's like no real response, like, I'm not getting like actual answers, like even just in the elevator, I'm asking you, hey, like, what you been doing today? Just
Well, I know, even accounting reached out to me, accounting said to me that, like, Amber's looking for all these checks. You know, and accounting, like, what the hell is happening? And, you know what I mean? And then they were in a folder in your drawer. Like,
Right. They were backdated back till September.
it doesn't matter. They're in your drawer and like.
They were in the assistant binder. I've taken on deposit accounting, I've taken on delinquency for you, I've taken on trying to manage the renewals, and it was too much for me. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect, but that bundle of things was too much for me.
But it didn't even resonate to you that, like, you're seeing the email and you never thought, hey, maybe I have that check?
It did, and that's when I went and I cleared out, you spoke about how the front office looks, how the desks are, not the desk, but the folder section is kind of stacked with the two little cubbies right there beside each other. All of the binders, it looks good out there. I was put in here with nothing except for Beth as my mentor. I haven't even been here 2 months yet.
You got a lot of training in 2 months. You Beth has
I have.
trained you. I talked to Beth. I've talked to everybody. I mean, I personally witnessed her show you how to do the renewal workbook, and when I asked you to send it to me, it wasn't done. That blew my mind.
Yes, ma'am, I was picking up delinquency, I have deposit
It's an
accounting.
hour.
There's 24 people in deposit accounting, and I've never done it.
Those hadn't surfaced yet. They hadn't moved out yet when we did the renewal worksheet. I can't believe you didn't have it done that day.
You gave it to me that afternoon, yes.
You know, and I watched Beth go over the whole thing with you. And from there, from the time, like, it was almost done. You know, I mean, I guess, so there's two things happening here, and this is my concern. One is, the tension in this office can't stay this way, right? It just simply
Correct.
cannot stay this way. But I'm also not seeing follow through. You know, you just took over delinquency. That is the job of an assistant manager.
It
You're
is.
not posting money because that's in the manager's office unless you're letting him go on your computer. So like one big chunk of it, the biggest time chunk of it's gone. You didn't do late letters.
I did do late letters when I first got here in December.
You didn't do them in January.
I didn't do them.
Okay, so how does that, like, help me understand why the renewal book wasn't done? You didn't do late letter, what were you doing?
I was working on delinquency, deposit
What were
accounting,
you working on with delinquency?
and I've only been here 2 months.
But I'm just saying, like, in that
Ray,
time frame,
Ray has
like,
been gone, Ray's
in
gone
a
to the
week.
wire.
I understand that. I understand all of those things. I'm asking you what you're doing.
I'm doing my job.
What is it? What are you doing?
Delinquency,
Tell me
deposit
what
accounting.
is delinquency? What does that mean?
Calling everybody that has a balance that's over $100. I took over that last week. She didn't even
Okay,
ask
that
me
was
to.
last week.
Yes, she didn't ask me to. I saw you were doing it on your desk, and I walked in there as you're filling out the files, and I took it from you. I was like, hey, you know, I think that's, I know what that is. That's the assistant's
You
role.
said that you wanted to do it because of the commission, but I asked you if you actually had the time, because I was gonna have the three of us split it up, because if you're too busy to follow through on all the things that are being asked, and you don't have the time to do it, then we all need to make sure it gets done.
Mhm.
So I was highlighting, I was gonna have each of us make our calls, we've got a ton of small balances, so I was like, why don't we all just split this up? But you were excited about the commission, so I was like, okay, if you've got the time and you can do it, like, all of them, then great, like, I just wanna make sure that it's gonna get done.
Mhm.
So I just go to you again and I've just been trying to follow up because I'm not getting like updates.
Do you
or
have a
feedback.
spreadsheet that has what the resident said, the date, the time that you
Yeah.
called?
Yeah.
Okay.
I updated all my comments on the people that I needed him to call, but then like I haven't seen it since, like I don't know in terms of, like, we talked about the other day,
Well, we can make it
And I made-
a Google shared document.
yeah.
And that's what I did.
But I'm just trying to figure out where you're spending your time because,
That should have only really taken a day though, like just
Yeah,
call
like,
those
that's
people,
what I'm saying.
Right,
and then
I
like
did.
then what are we working on?
save
Because the deposit
weeks.
counting is like kind of like done, and the delinquency is done, so like
and the
what,
So
deposit.
on top of everything I did have, I still finished that work, correct?
I don't know.
What do you mean? I gave you the notes and I had them in my book. You asked me for an update. The small balances as well. You said the larger balances, which was more work, I completed that in that one day. You
Yeah.
asked for an update, I updated it for you.
Yeah.
I have 6 applications. I still have to learn these processes as well. So what you guys are expecting from me is what? What are you guys
I
expecting?
just follow through, like, you know, and the time management piece, because from what you're saying you're doing, I know what it takes to do those things.
Correct, when things are
But
working right.
when things are working right, what do you mean?
Like not having to do for deposit accounting, the same thing that's
That is
things like this.
Right, but
There
I
are
would say
things
that Beth
here.
was very frustrated because you were supposed to have started the deposit accounting long before you did. You waited until AME to do something.
I did not. I started them as soon as I could.
As soon as you
We didn't even know about AME, correct? We didn't know about the due date of AME until I was already started working on these things. I didn't know
But
this
the
stuff.
deposit accounting is something that's typically done in real time. When did the people
Correct.
move out?
But there were no processes before Amber got here. So when I first started, there was no move out processes, there was no move in processes. We just started these processes, correct?
Yeah,
So
I
there's
mean, when I
24
got here, it
deposit
didn't
accounts.
seem like there was much systems in place in terms of like who's doing what, like figuring all that out. That was really tricky, like my first week, trying to be like, where are we at? I just need to get a sense of like, what are people responsible for? What are we doing? All of that. But it did take like another week probably to get started on them from what I noticed.
Correct.
After we talked about it.
When I started here, nobody said, hey, this is what you're doing per day, this is what you're doing. You guys are asking me about things that I have taken upon myself to do. Delinquency, I came to you, I saw it, I took it from
You
you.
didn't take up on yourself, like, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, I was,
I mean, I can just tell in your demeanor right now why the friction is. I mean, you are very condescending as it's like you're coming at us. We're
I'm not.
trying to have a conversation with you and you're just like, did I not, like, you are very aggressive.
But you guys are telling me that I'm
We're
basically
trying to
doing
get, like,
nothing. So
nobody said you weren't doing
the way it
What I
sounds
just
is,
asked you.
What I said to you was, I have concerns for your time management. I have concerns that checks were sitting in a folder, and here we're having accounting stop payment on checks, recut checks, it's taken up her time, their time, my time, and pissing people off. You have the checks, but you have
Right.
85 reasons why it's not your fault. Why can't you just own that?
I'm not saying it's not my
You know what I
fault,
mean?
I'm
Like,
giving
I'm just
you,
saying, like, I don't
you're
feel like
asking
maybe
for
you're
it.
not-
A lot of accountability.
Like, it's like you have absolutely no accountability for anything we're talking about, and that's why I'm frustrated. You don't think I've ever put a check in a drawer and said, oh shit, that's on me? But you can't do that.
That's what I did. I legit took accountability
You
for
just sat
it.
here and told me for 50, like, why, it's not my fault, they were in a binder, I cleaned it up, like, if I didn't clean it up, we never would have found them, like, they were backdated, they were this, they were that, like, at no point in this at all have you taken accountability for anything. I asked you about the renewal spreadsheet, well, I was doing this, and I was doing this, and I was doing this, but you didn't finish what you started, and I asked you for it, and then I asked you for it a week ago, and you still not sent it to me.
I did send it to you.
When did you send it to me?
If I need to pull up my computer, I can, but I know I sent it to you.
I'll go back and look, but it was not finished when I asked you for it, it blew my mind that we were getting on an owner's call, and it was like, this is a real-time document, it's gonna happen in real time, all the time. And if it can't happen in real time all the time, I have concerns. The deposit accounting, that's a one-off, you never have that many deposit accountings to do, ever.
Correct, so it's taking a considerable amount of time, longer than it would, and this is my first time as well.
And I get that, but again, you're talking about a couple of days. You know, and you have like, you just
None
said,
of us like came here and helped do it, and it got done, like, the minute she came in, like, y'all were like done with it for,
Correct.
so then it's like, since then, like, when I'm asking, like, what are you working on, what's going on, like.
I'm just trying to have you take us through a day in the life of you, because you're not posting money. You're not, you know, like, okay, you're called delinquents, but if you call delinquents every day, which I don't think you are, but you should, if you call them every day, it's an hour of your day. You know,
I'm taking tours. You were in the car yesterday at what time? 5:50, 5:40. It's like I'm jumping up front on Mondays. I had 6 tours last Monday, and I was getting a little bit frustrated that my break was at 3:50, and you call me sassy. So there's like,
well,
and-
the way that you come across, I think sassy is a really nice.
I was trying to diffuse a situation in the moment because I told you, I already had this conversation with you at length, I know twice. But I was like, I don't know him well enough, like, I didn't wanna have to have like a sit down conversation in that moment, was not the time to like pull you aside and have a real conversation, but that was my way of just saying like, oh, caught me off guard the way you were talking to me. Because it's not my fault your break is at 3:50.
no, but you asked me to wait.
Busy day.
You asked me to wait at 12 o'clock. for
Again,
your
not your,
appointment.
I mean.
Well, I had to. I
Yeah.
had an owner's call. I had an owner's call. Like I was just simply telling you, I can't have you go and have no one at the desk when I'm on a call.
Yeah, I understood that, and I stayed there. And when you suggested what you said, I said, okay. And you said, okay, sassy. Like,
I said, no, I didn't say it like that. I did say, hey, I was going to check on you, and I had a very polite tone. It was very nice. I was like, about to ask you something, and you said, about to go on break? Yeah. And I said, okay, yeah, fair enough. I just realized the time. I'm like, okay, go on your break. And then I said, you had to be back for something or whatever. And I said, if you want to take another 30 minutes, like, make sure you do that. Like, I want to make sure, take your breaks. Like, and you were like, I know. And so I went, oh, sassy. Because I was just like, why are you talking to me like that?
well, I didn't mean to come across as sassy. That's not the way I come across.
It is what you do.
That's not the way I try to come across.
Well, maybe you
It
didn't.
wasn't the first instance, and that's why I reacted, because I was like, well.
And I completely understand that. And not to cut you off, but I'm dealing with one side being cussed at by the leasing agent, and my tone is too much for you. So it's like I can definitely tell that things are being picked and chosen of what to be upset about. Like I'm
I didn't have
first
anything
that.
to say. I never told you sassy. You ran with that and you wanted to have a conversation.
I did because I'm a grown man and I didn't appreciate being called sassy.
I also didn't appreciate being spoken to the way that I was being spoken to.
I
That was my
understand
nice way of trying to ask you to check your tone.
Yes, ma'am. But I wouldn't ever say anything out of the line like that towards you, and I haven't towards Morgan. So my tone, I can understand you guys think it's sassy. That's perfectly fine. I wouldn't call you guys a name just because the way I think you guys act. That's not what I have done. That's not what I will do.
And it's not really making points, just like
I mean, if you wanna take it to that level, I mean, the reality is that you need to work as a team, we're not working as a team, and it doesn't feel like this is gonna work as a team. So I guess my question to you is, where do we go from here? Because this environment, I mean, it's like you're angry.
I'm not angry.
You are angry. I mean, you may not see yourself, I mean, maybe you're not angry. If you're not angry and we can't get it out on the table, then I don't even know what to say.
Right, but I'm
Because
telling
if you're gonna talk to me the way you're talking to me and Amber the way you're talking to Amber, why would I not think you're talking to Morgan this way? Like, what?
But what have I said that's led you to think that
I
I
mean,
would?
no matter what we say, you're just arguing back.
You're asking me questions. You said, tell me about your day. Tell me what you did.
And you still haven't answered me.
I said it, and then you said I just kept going on, and I was being defensive. So do you want me to talk, or do you not want me to talk?
And that right there. Do you want me to talk or you do not want me to talk?
But I say
It's the
something when you
way
say I'm
in
being-
which you're communicating. It's very condescending.
And you called me sassy 2 times now.
I didn't call you sassy.
You said the way I act is pretty sassy.
I said sassy is an understatement. I mean, I think it's a polite way of saying, check yourself. Because you're coming across, and I can see it. I mean, if you're that upset that your break was that late, like, I could just see it in the way that you're communicating right now. Like, I don't understand what it is.
I mean, and that was how you came into my office the other day when Morgan had given you that move in. And I'm like, you just catch me off guard sometimes the way you speak to me, because I'm like, I don't even know what to, I just get like, I don't even really know what to say sometimes in the moment, because of how you have come across at times. Like, when you walked in, you stormed in, and you were angry about the fact that Morgan gave you that move in, and you're like, I texted her, like, that's not cool, you know. I understand being frustrated, but you're not like talking to me like person to person, just like having a conversation. You're not like, hey, you know, I was kind of annoyed that Morgan gave me this check, like, or, you know, can we talk about like the move-in process? Like, can she finish her own? Like, it wasn't like a conversation. You're coming and storming in there, telling me how it's gonna be, telling me how you took action on it, and like, I just sometimes am so caught guard by the energy. Like, I'm like, okay, I mean, okay, like,
I can understand
you know, it's just, and it's just been there's been many times that I felt that way. And so, yeah, in that moment, it's like, I'm just doing the best I can to kind of diffuse, because I'm like, why is he treating me like this? I don't deserve that. Sorry, it's been a busy day. I've been just as busy. We're in the same boat together. Like, when you're out on a tour, who do you think's manning the desk? Who do you think's answering the calls? I'm also trying to do my own job. It was a busy day, but I'm not taking my frustration out on you.
that. All right,
You know what I mean?
I hope I didn't come across as taking my frustration out. I was just letting you know that I didn't like this, and I did text Morgan, so I know something was gonna be said about that later.
But why are you texting Morgan? Like, as a manager, assistant manager, a regional manager, like, it would be a conversation, and a calm conversation. Not, I mean, and that's what I'm saying, it's like you're talking at Amber. You're not talking to her. You're talking at me. You're not talking to me. And that's the best way that I could describe it. Just witnessing what's happening here. So if you're talking at us in this scenario, I could see where you most likely offended Morgan, because I'm sure you're talking at her too. You know, not to mention, you know, it's a conversation. You know, I mean, and what did she do? Like, she left a file? Like,
No, she left 10 minutes before her move-in got there to take a lunch.
okay, and it's like, and that makes you mad?
No, it didn't make me mad, but I just wanted to say that in this process, you start to finish, and that's all I said. You don't call them and tell them to come, and somebody else is gonna take care of them, and I wasn't aware of that at that time. That's all I said.
I mean, do you think it was necessary to say it like that? It just sounds sort of like, you know, I mean, I'm sure she didn't, if she knew that the person was coming in 10 minutes, and she told you that, and she's going to lunch, like, I still don't understand. Then you're gonna turn around and say you should have done this from start to finish? Like, I mean, I guess I'm fortunate. I've always worked with people that enjoyed working with me. I'd be like, hey, Amber, I am starving. My move is gonna be here in 10 minutes. Do you mind? And I don't think she'd care. Like, why do you care? Like, why did it take you to that level to say, and to text her to boot, I need you to do things from start to finish? Like, that just doesn't feel good.
I mean, that's just the way that I, in this field, have done things from start to finish.
But why not have a conversation and just say, hey, listen, like, you know, in the future, like,
I talked to her about it, I just said, hey, you know, like, it's nice for people to also see you, you know, if it doesn't, like, there's gonna be times where we have to be a team, and there's gonna be times where, like, that's inconvenient, but you take care of each other.
Right.
But then, there's other times where, I told her, I just sat down and said, hey, you know, if that's something that you have a problem with, I would rather that be, like you're saying, a conversation where we can say, hey, like, when you have appointments and you have move-ins on your schedule, why don't you just try to line those up around your break or your appointments or whatever? Because I used to have to meet people off-site all the time, so I used to just schedule a time. It's not always gonna work out. She said to me that she didn't know what time they were gonna get there, so she left it so that you knew if they show up while I'm on my break.
and that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're gonna put
Yesterday,
that
I
out
took-
of frame and send
No,
texts every time,
It's
so it
not.
won't happen.
That's not, no, but when I called the move-in that day, they said that Morgan had told them, to show up within the next 10 minutes, and they did. So I did call them, that's on record. And it's not the fact that I was upset, but, you know, I take pride in what I do. I try to take on more than expected. Nobody has told me, hey, go ahead and start deposit accounting for me today, and I'm gonna walk you through it. No, I called that because I have started deposit
But
accounting.
I mean, and I think that's the part I'm struggling with, like, that is expected, right?
Yes,
Like,
ma'am.
nobody's gonna spoon feed you, I would expect it, but you keep saying, nobody told me to do this, I had to take it upon myself. I took it upon myself to do this. So you must have said, I've taken it upon myself 15 times at one point I was counting. It's your job to take it upon yourself.
It is, and I'm
No,
trying the best
but
I can.
You sound so, like, irritated, like, I had to do this on my own, and I had to figure this out, and I had to call Beth, and, like,
And that's what's hard too, because like all these tests are going trying to
It's
happen.
not hard. It's not hard.
It's like we're
you sound very frustrated.
That's the way you're taking it.
I'm sitting here, am I misinterpreting? Does
No, I
it sound
felt-
frustrated to you?
I felt the same way when we had that conversation because I tried reminding you, like, I'm in the same boat with you, you know what I mean? Like, I was just trying to tell you, like, also, I'm like, I have to rely on you as, like, my assistant, so I'm like, I'm trying to, like, explain to you, but I'm like, I'm in the same boat, like, you think that I'm not also having to figure all this stuff out, also have these conversations, you know what I mean? Like, I have a lot that I'm juggling too, and even more brand new, and like, you know what I mean? And also trying to support you guys, and so, I felt that way in that conversation. I mean, if you're feeling it now, that's different. But I'm like, I know that I felt that way. Where I was like, why do you feel like you're like, it's like taking ownership for your job in some way. I don't know what it is. It's like having to.
It's almost like, I mean, and I guess the way I can put it is, it's like commissions are due on a certain day. Nobody's gonna say, hi Amber, I'm gonna spoon feed you. Like, at some point, and when you get into a management position, I expect Amber to say, hey, I know commissions are due, can you show me how to do it? You know what I mean? Like Cynthia, she's our new RPM that works for me. You know, it's like, hey, I know that I have to do payroll on Monday, can you show me how to do it? And she's not walking around saying, and I had to take it upon myself to figure out how to do payroll because I know that it's my job to get it done. Like, that's what you're saying.
Right, but you're
over and over.
asking, like, what is the delay in the process? There's
I'm
delays in the
not,
process.
I'm asking very specifically, like, it's almost like you were doing the renewal thing and then just stopped and forgot about it.
I didn't. This place is a little hectic sometimes.
And I get that. I've been in this business a long time. This isn't my first rodeo. I'm very well aware of what it takes to run an office and what it is like here.
Yeah. Just a little tough, that's all.
But it's tougher because of I don't feel any sense of teamwork in this office. It's like, it's you against Morgan, Morgan against you. Amber's trying to find her footing, and I mean, anytime she asks you something, it seems like you're giving her pushback. You're very aggressive in your tone. Maybe you don't mean to be, but you are.
But you're
And
calling
that's what I'm
me, you're calling me
trying
sassy as well too, so I'm a grown man who served this country. So at some point, where do you want me to draw the line? You're telling me sassy is a nice comment to me? Whatever, like, I have not said anything to you. So like, I'm a grown man, I served this country. Well, like, what are we talking
I'm a
about?
grown woman.
Yeah. But you're calling me sassy.
So that's our takeaway from this conversation.
That sassy is a nice comment from me?